Good Friday evening, everyone. Welcome back to another video. And this is going to be another movie roundup, if you will. I've been really slacking on these reviews, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm going to talk about the first three new release films that I saw in December. So I'm going to talk about Werewolves, Y2K, and Kraven the Hunter in this video. So let's go ahead and get started with these three movies. So the first movie I want to talk about is Werewolves, and this released last Friday. And this is a new supernatural horror creature feature about a super moon turning billions of people into werewolves. So it's a year later, and it's the anniversary of the supermoon. And it's just chaos throughout the world. Now, people labeled this as the Purge with werewolves. And that's exactly what this movie is. So, right off the bat, this was definitely my thing, but it is very derivative. And it's a movie that we've seen hundreds of times, but it's still a very easy 90-minute shut your brain off type of movie. I really like the action in here, and Frank Grillo definitely stood out in this entire movie. And it was just him trying to get back to his family before the werewolves got them. The only thing I have an issue with this movie is the ending. It felt very forced, and it felt, let's just wrap this thing up. So, essentially, Frank Grillo goes toe to toe with like one of the head werewolves, and they just fight to the death. It was kind of a, I don't want to say a lazy ending, but it was an ending that I saw coming. But other than that, I really did enjoy this movie. It's totally my thing. And if it weren't for that ending, this definitely would have been a very fun movie. But it's very repetitive on so many other movies that does it better. But it's a pretty watchable movie. So I would give Werewolves, I'd settle on a B minus. It wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but I enjoyed it. I would definitely rewatch it again. So that was the first movie. The next movie I want to talk about real quick was Y2K. And I saw this last Saturday. And this is basically every 90s comedy mixed in with the apocalypse, if you will. So this is like the vein of Can't Hardly Wait meets This Is the End. And the best part of this entire movie is the first 20 to 30 minutes because it's just nostalgia base. I mean, great soundtrack, and they really nailed the 90s fashion. So, this takes place on New Year's Eve, 1999, but once the clock strikes midnight, Y2K happens. And Y2K was a scare where all the computers were about ready to become obsolete because they were afraid that it would turn 00 and we'd be going back to like 1900 instead of 2000. So nothing at all happened. But this movie has like machines taken over on New Year's Day of Y2K. So it's up to all these teenagers to basically survive the night before becoming mind slaves to computers. It's very weird, but what really won me over on this movie is a certain cameo, and I'll give you a hint. This dude likes to break stuff. So, yeah, he's in here for quite a bit. And I thought Fred Durst definitely delivered on the nostalgia bomb of this movie. He was actually pretty fun, and he definitely helped out a lot. But I will say some of the character deaths kind of went the wrong way because Jaden Martell's best friend, he was the most interesting character in this movie. And he didn't make it past the first act. That's kind of when this movie like went down for me. Because it's just these teenagers surviving the night. And it turns out to be kind of like a post-apocalyptic kind of movie too. So, it's a very fun one, but a very weird one. But the nostalgia will definitely get you if you were a 90s kid. Well, in my case, an 80s to 90s kid. But I really enjoyed this movie, and I would give Y2K a B. So, moving on to Kraven the Hunter. I just saw this today, and it's another Spider-Man-less villain Venom-verse movie thing. But it is confirmed that this is the last of that franchise. Thank God. This is another pointless movie to release in the Venomverse. So, this stars Aaron Taylor Johnson as Kraven the Hunter, and the origin story for him was that he was bit by a lion and he almost died, but this random girl gave him some type of potion, and then all of a sudden he adapts to like all of the predators, and he like jumps around like them and moves around like them. So you also have Russell Crowe in here as the dad, and he was just there. But then you have Kraven the Hunter's brother kind of like being the wimp of the family, but it turns out Russell Crowe kind of likes him better. And then you get on this whole rival mob or whatever it is. They end up kidnapping Sergei's brother. And it turns out the Rhino is the bad guy in this movie. So, honestly, this movie did not make any sense whatsoever. But I will say this. It's got a better portrayal of the Rhino compared to The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is saying a lot. But the Rhino in here is very forgettable, and he just has his skin genetically modified to turn into a rhino. And then you finally see him near the end of the movie, and it turns out that he's very easy to kill. So, that's basically the entire movie. It's so derivative, and I'm glad that this franchise is over. I mean, they had like a ton of these things planned, but they were all canceled. Thank God. But I will say this. This isn't a good movie, but it's still better than Madam Web, which is my worst movie of the year. But that's not saying a lot, because this movie is not really all that good either. But the story just makes no sense. And I was kind of let down by this movie. It was supposed to be released last October, and then they delay it another year. And this is what we have. So, on paper, Kraven the Hunter would make a very good Spider-Man villain. But you get Kraven the Hunter and a pointless origin story. This would have been so much better if Spider-Man was in it. And I've said it for all of these movies. It just makes no sense why they keep making these movies. But I said what I needed to say, and this is just another pointless movie. So I would honestly give Kraven the Hunter a D. It was better than Madam Web, but not too much better. But I think that this might have been worse than Venom the Last Dance, which wasn't all that good either. So, I just don't get it. Why waste great villains in these types of movies? Just bring Spider-Man in. But I digress. So, those are my thoughts on 3 new releases that I saw over the last week. And I'm hoping my next review is going to be Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which is a new anime spinoff of Lord of the Rings. I'll probably see that Tuesday. So I'm just going to hang here tomorrow and just lounge. So I won't go to a movie tomorrow, but I'll definitely see this on Tuesday. But I'll definitely see Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Mufasa the Lion King next weekend. I definitely can't wait for both of those. They're definitely going to be better, hopefully, than Kraven the Hunter this weekend. So, then after those two, you have Nosferatu and A Complete Unknown, which are two movies that are releasing on Christmas Day. I'll definitely have a review for those after Christmas. But other than that, these are my thoughts on these three movies. And one final thing, I decided to axe my holiday horror vlog. It's just not coming together. I barely have been reading the books that I was supposed to read. So I'll continue on with them, and maybe some time in the future I'll make another vlog. But that's all I got for this video. I'll see you in the next one. Adios. Peace.